So when I was asked to give a talk on meditation, the first thing that came to mind is, why am I qualified to give this talk? I mean, I'm by no means a skillful meditator yet, but I was thinking that there are little things that I've learned along the way, little tricks that I've learned that have really helped me a lot. And so today I would like to share some of those things that I've learned. Even if they're just small little things, maybe they'll come in good use to some people. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was my first experience, or my first few experiences with meditation coming here. My first few experiences were not very good. I remember thinking, wow, this is much more difficult than I thought it was. I remember thinking that this was not what I expected meditation to be. There were two things I found exceptionally difficult. The first was the focus. Just focusing on my breath, focusing on things other than what's going on in my mind, I found to be extremely difficult. And I still find that to be very difficult. And the second thing was the physical, the posture, sitting the way that you're supposed to sit. I found it very hard on my back, very difficult to do that. And that was one thing I didn't expect. But those two things were very hard to do. And through practice, I found that they became easier, but it took a long time. It took about a year before I started really noticing an enjoyment in meditation and a real difference in how I felt when I meditated. But there were a few things that I found that really helped. The first was having a good belief about why you're meditating, having a reason to meditate, so that when you're meditating and you have all of those hardships come up, you remind yourself, why am I meditating? Why am I doing this? So that you don't give up easily. Because in the beginning, I gave up over and over and over again very easily. And it actually says in the scriptures of Buddhism, it gives you a list of all of the reasons why meditation is so great for you, why sitting meditation is so amazing. And I would like to read those. These are some very good reasons. The merit of seated meditation. When you have gained the power that comes from long training in seated meditation, the following 10 benefits will result. Number 1, rash and flighty behavior will gradually disappear. The activities of the 6 sense organs will become orderly. The suffering of illness decreases and your face becomes smoother. The power of memory improves. The power of endurance grows. Attachments disappear. Perverse states of mind change into right states of mind. Your self-nature's light of wisdom will shine. You will be gratified by ultimate bliss. You will gain freedom in birth and death. So these 10 benefits are really extraordinary benefits. And that's just from sitting and listening to your breath. I find that really amazing, and whenever I feel like giving up, I'll try to remind myself of these 10 benefits, and that really helps me keep motivation. Another thing that I found very useful to think about was another passage in the scriptures of Buddhism, and that was when Master Soda-san was talking about the connection between how somebody is doing and whether they are devoted to it or not. So the connection between your well-being and your practice. And this was on page 144 in practice. It says, the founding master said, no matter what one may be doing, whether a person is wholly devoted to it or not, depends on how well he understands its connection to him. A person is diligent in obtaining clothes and food because he understands that clothes and food have a close connection to sustaining his life. A patient diligently seeks a cure because he understands that his health depends on finding that cure. A practitioner trains diligently because he understands that practice is vital to his future. A person who understands these connections will readily overcome the myriad hardships and suffering caused by practice, and will not complain even when his teachers or colleagues are inattentive to him. However, if one does not understand these connections, one will have no patience when practicing, will feel unfounded dissatisfaction towards one's teachers and colleagues, and will feel like he is practicing and working for someone else You all must review with a critical spirit whether you have awakened to what connections your practice has to yourselves. And this was one of the most important realizations I had, why meditation is so important to me, my connection to it, how it relates to my well-being. And I understand that relation a lot better now than I did at my beginning of my practice. At first, I didn't really understand why meditation was so important and why I was meditating in the first place. So of course it was easy to give up. I think in our civilization, in Western civilization, we're not very used to pointing the mind at one thing and sitting in that posture when we meditate. So of course it's going to be very hard to do that. It's going to take a lot of training, a lot of practice. It can take years and years of practice before somebody becomes very comfortable with it. I was very hard on myself at first. I realized that I kept thinking that it was supposed to be easy. And I soon found out that it was not easy at all. It's actually very difficult. But there are a lot of benefits to it, as I reviewed. There are a lot of reasons that one should meditate and want to meditate. And there are a lot of things that you can achieve through meditation. So I think that it's very important to keep going no matter how you feel and remind yourself. And another thing is that I think it's hard for everybody at first. I don't think anybody can start meditating and find it very easy. Maybe there are a few people that are naturals at it, but I don't think many people are. So it's good to remind ourselves, I think, that we're going through this hardship together, that through practice together we can all grow and become better at this. And once we do, we're going to have these 10 benefits that Master Sotasan talked about in the scriptures on Buddhism. A few other things that I think are a little bit less important but can still be very helpful are a few tricks that I've learned. I know with a lot of people, myself included, the hardest, or not the hardest, but one of the hardest things about sitting down and meditating is finding the time to do it. So I was thinking this over and I found out that the best thing you can possibly do if you're having a hard time finding time to meditate is to meditate whenever possible. Even if you only have a 5-minute break for lunch or 5 minutes of free time, whenever it may be, in the morning, on the subway, coming home from work or school, that little time that you have, those few minutes can be very valuable because that's the time when you can really just take a step back and really meditate and kind of take a break from your busy life. So if you can't work it into your schedule quite yet, I think it's really important to just take those few minutes to get into the habit of meditating every day. Even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes, it really does make a big difference. So I started doing that and I found that it really helped. Another thing you can do is keep a record of your meditation. And that kind of goes hand in hand with working into your schedule and taking just 5 or 10 minutes a day. Doesn't matter how short it is, mark it down on a calendar, create your own log. I have my own log that I carry around with me, and I just mark it whenever I did that meditation that day. And then I can go back and see, well, okay, I did it this day, I didn't do it this day, where's area for improvement, what am I doing consistently, what am I not doing consistently, and that really helps, it makes a big difference. So those are a few things that you can do and incorporate in your practice, and they really do make a big difference because they keep you more accountable for your meditation. So I think through understanding our connection with meditation, our connection with our well-being in meditation, how we can set our practice and make it a little easier in our daily life through keeping a log or taking those few minutes out during the day, and understanding why we meditate. I think that those things can really help us a lot. Thank you.